僕が僕を愛すること生だし応じてもいいかどこへ向かう旅だとしても
Hello, everyone. This is your always tactful host, Pendy.
And this is Paul, also known as Eastx Twitch.
Dimensional Dragon. Dimensional Dragon. Dimensional Dragon. Dimensional Dragon.
What are you muttering to yourself about over there for the second time this week?
I'm doing some practice to make sure I say the names right during this episode. Last episode, I called the Dimensional Dragon a Dimension Dinosaur, and I don't want to repeat that mistake.
That's good. Your mispronunciations were really dragging down the last episode.
Oh.
Have you been practicing the other names for tonight's show?
Yes, I'll run them by you first to see how I'm doing.
All right, lay it on me.
Okay, first we have Maldragora,
Good.
the Tiebreaker.
No, that's Worldbreaker or Worldmaker, depending on whom you're talking about.
Oh, whoops. Okay. Next one is Flazzard, the Commandant of the Blaze Blizz Academy.
Perfect. No, wait, are you even trying? It's Flazzard, commander of the Blizz Blaze Legion. Please tell me you don't have more.
Anna Lucia, the Luminescent.
No.
Dark Chocolate Chip.
Stop, I'm on a diet.
Negligent Nether Region.
Who are you even?
Forest Kitty.
You're just making stuff up.
Maybe I should reevaluate how I say some of these names.
While you're doing that, I'll just welcome our audience to Tactfully Dai, a Slime Time podcast spinoff that covers just about everything in the world of Dragon Quest, the Adventure of Dai, and the Dragon Quest Tact mobile game.
That's right. We'll talk about the latest and greatest with Dragon Quest Tact first.
Good. It's a good day, again, to talk some tact.
I'll start off with the banner pool party our guild had for Maldragora, the World Maker. That was a lot of fun.
You showed up and you met the boys and girls. We were glad to have you.
Yeah, it was good to see most everyone get him off their pulls, too. I didn't get him then during the party, but I got him the next day from a ticket pool.
Better late than never. I got one copy from the paid pool, and I've since awakened him twice using mystery shards and rainbow medals. I just need to pour some gems into further pulls so that I can get him to 3 hearts. Maybe then Senpai will notice me.
Okay, next it's time for Mindini's Hot Metal Swap Shop.
That's right. Also known as the Rank 8 shop, it's a special shop the Japanese players got when they first got Rank 8. Frustratingly for us, the global version got the shop a couple months later than expected.
Yeah, and to be honest, I'm just happy to have it now, at least. There are so many good things to get from the shop, including a ton of the rainbow crystals. I've enjoyed farming this out. The metal drop rate also seems to be like double the rate of the usual in-game currency drop rates for this kind of stuff.
It's helpful. And not only that, but there's a campaign going on for 3 times the rewards for rank up stages.
Yeah, and plus there's a 2 times the awards for story missions. So that includes the hard stages that drop the upper level rank materials like the much needed rainbow crystals as well. You know, I think, or I have been dropping stam on that particular stage every day, especially. I usually do it anyways, but especially now since it's 2 times the award.
Aha. Me too. My luck hasn't been great on the hard stages since the campaign started, but still, I gotta keep trying because every little bit helps.
That's true. I noticed our guild, DQT Aces 1, is rank 5 in stamina right now. I'm betting a lot of the big dogs are going hard farming for the shop.
It's probably the rank up materials campaign first and the shop second, but they're both great. I need to spend more stamina on those things too, but I've been busy.
Yeah. And you know what? The big Draki squad ain't so big anymore at 6th place. What are you going to do now, Draki squad members, who probably don't even listen to this podcast? That's right. I'm calling you out. Woo!
Kick rocks, Draki squad.
Anyway, now to the arena. How have you been doing in the arena? I had fun with the A rank week. I had 2 bad fights where I lost some people, so I came up 259th overall. I'm perfect so far this week, and it's Thursday, so I'm kind of nervous because that means I only have 2 more days, and if I can go perfect those last 2 days, 6 more fights, then I can get first place for the first time ever.
Wow. Well, that is so far so good. I'm glad to hear you're doing well.
Thank you.
Yeah, for last week, I also came up 259th, so that's kind of cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and any break from the norm in the arena is fine with me, so the A rank only week, that's a cool thing. This week, I actually just lost a battle this morning, in other words, yesterday, as far as the game goes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I was doing the battle on my ride to work, so not driving, but I was doing the battle and I was in a hurry just to get it out of the way before I had to get to work, and unfortunately it didn't go well for me. It's frustrating because I felt like my team should have been able to win, but maybe I was a bit distracted. But anyway, I should be using Maldragora more this week, but I've been low on tomes for strengthening his attacks, so let's hope a tomes campaign comes along soon.
Yeah, that'll be nice. I mean, I guess when was the last time we had one? Was not too long ago, but as long as it's not weapons.
Yeah, and the other thing, the last time we had one, they were running a bunch of campaigns at once, and that makes it really
Yeah.
hard to farm anything efficiently, So I wish
Yeah.
they would just space them out somewhat regularly and give us a fair chance at farming.
Yeah, because they seem to do that in the beginning, and I like how it's just one thing right now, so I can concentrate on just going after a lot of those rank up 3 times quests. It's great.
Yes, exactly. When there's 3 or 4 things going at the same time, I always feel like I'm neglecting something. I just feel like anxious about how I'm spending my stamina.
Yeah. But last episode we talked about me joining DQT Aces 1 guild. August was my first full month as a new member.
How's it been for you? Nobody's picking on you, are they? I told them to wait longer before picking on you.
Nah, it's been great. As we mentioned before, I had fun with the banner pull party. I think we placed like 13th or 14th overall in stamina, and we placed second in the gold league of the guild tournament.
Which is something, but we really should have done better in that tournament. But 2 months in a row, we keep having like one person or a couple people who decide to lone wolf their fights, and they end up losing a bunch and just kind of screwing it up for the rest of us. But we've brought in some fresh new bloods, so I'm hopeful that the next tournament will better reflect the awesomeness of our guild.
Yeah, I noticed that. And one of the guys that's still in there, I'm not going to call him out because we're doing the podcast, but there was like somebody last time that they would battle really early, and they lost like 5 or 6 fights. And I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Well, after that happened, I hit him on the head with a frying pan. So maybe he'll do better next time.
Let's hope that. But yeah, we did. I saw that that we've been like the guild has been in the gold league and the platinum league and one other league. So hopefully, yeah, we'll do even better this time. It'll be great. Oh, and I also noticed that like some people kind of switched around guilds, and like someone went down to DQT Aces 2 to take over as a guild leader and stuff like that. So that's cool.
Yes, as a matter of fact, we needed better leadership for Aces 2 because the previous leader basically just wasn't spending any time with the game anymore, and therefore he couldn't help us with things we needed to do. And then Aces 3's leader also wanted to retire. We swapped in a new guy for that, and the new guy was he was crazy, like he wasn't very good. He must be young, but he's also crazy. So not a great combination there.
Right.
So anyway, we got rid of him as quickly as we could, maybe like a couple weeks. And finally we have a new guy who probably isn't going to be around enough, but still better than we had before that.
Yeah. And 3 is a little bit more casual than the other 2. So
yeah, and I like being able to move people back and forth between them. Like if somebody in 3 starts doing well, we can move them up, and if somebody's doing poorly in a higher guild, we can move them down instead of just throwing them out of an airlock.
Yeah. I mean, as we get more communication through the Discord and stuff like that, we can have that flexibility between the guilds, which is nice to see.
Right on. So it is a big hassle having more than one guild technically under the same umbrella, but it brings its benefits, and so far it's working okay for us. Now then, before we get into the Dai portion of the show, it's time for the Tact Tip of the Day.
Tip of the day.
Did you know that you could save yourself a lot of grief with the daily experience quest and the metal enemies therein?
That's right, tacticians. Never worry about those crafty metal creatures eluding your grasp in that sweet, sweet experience. Use a skip ticket on that mission.
Exactly. Just kidding. Exactly. Yeah, the game gives you a fair amount of skip tickets every day, so just use them on the daily experience quest, and then there's no strategy needed.
No.
Anyway, send in whomever you want to level up, and let the ticket do the rest.
That's amazing. Just skip it. That was our Tact Tip of the Day. Tip of the Day. Now let's get into some Dai.
Every week, we're going to review 2 episodes from the newest Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai anime.
In the future, we will also do reviews of the manga, upcoming Dai console news, and maybe even a little bit about the merchandise as well.
And neither one of us plays the Adventure of Dai mobile game, so don't ask about it.
No, we don't. First, we have episode 15, The Terrifying Curse Field. Dai battles Flazzard quite proficiently until Flazzard pulls out some dirty tricks. What will they be?
So this episode starts with Dai being furious over Flazzard's mistreatment of Leona, so he gives the Fire and Ice dude a good thrashing. Dai ends up slashing off one of Flazzard's arms.
He is able to easily grow back that arm, much to Pop's dismay. His shocked reaction was quite amusing, and I got a good laugh out of that one. It's interesting because it's a bigger reaction than in the original anime, where the reactions are usually typically more over the top than the new anime. For once, it's the opposite, which was interesting.
I laughed at Pop's surprise face too. So, Flazzard's next move is to let out a powerful Blizz Blaze shrapnel detonation that sends everyone flying.
And apparently this was also a signal to have Flazzard's minions start what he calls an infernal battle.
Those little jerks. They erect dark ice and dark flame spires, creating the Blizz Blaze curse field, which prevents everyone inside, except for him, from casting spells, and it reduces their strength to only 1/5 of what it was before.
Yeah, exactly, except for Flazzard, of course, the big cheater.
Mom realizes how dire their predicament has become, and she tries to convince Dai to retreat with the wounded.
A smart decision, but Dai is too stubborn to go.
Yeah, he's kind of a typical Toriyama-style protagonist there.
Mm-hmm.
So Flazzard overhears the suggestion to run, and then he ends up freezing Princess Leona in a block of ice in order to pressure Dai into staying.
Not to the death, though. He uses legendary forbidden magic to do so. The only way the ice will melt is if Flazzard is killed.
Dai continues, refusing to retreat. Mom knows the smart decision is to go, so she smacks Dai in the back of the head to knock him out. She also tosses a sizzle bullet at Flazzard that blows up in his hand just as he tries to stop them from escaping. That's 2 arms Flazzard has lost in 1 episode.
He is well armed.
Or should that be disarmed?
Oh, the battle may be a loss, but Mam's a real MVP here with their quick decision making. They escape out of the field in the royal balloon, but Flazzard sicks his army of dancing flames after them.
Yes. Then outside of the curse field, the heroes are finally able to use their spells again, but Flazzard has sent too many dancing flames for them to handle.
The dancing flames damage the balloon, forcing a crash landing.
Then the party's about to crash in the whirlpool when a mysterious man casts a spell that eradicates their pursuers, allowing the heroes a safe landing beyond the whirlpool.
Who is this person? Well, it turns out to be Mam's uncle, of all people. We'll learn next episode who he is exactly beyond that. So what'd you think of this episode? I thought it was very exciting. Flazzard is an entertaining villain with some very interesting skills, more of which are yet to be revealed. And I like how Mam assesses the situation and wisely tries to get them out of there, even if it means knocking out Dai in the process.
Yeah, well, I hated it. Just kidding. So, yeah, Flazzard is a real jerk. You know, he's kind of a Yakuza-style character. He's got the interesting accent and way of talking. And, you know, he's terrible, but also just fun to watch. So we love to hate him. And there's a good fight between, you know, Dai puts up a good fight. Flazzard's doing interesting, cool things. And the heroes are then forced to retreat, which is cool because we don't see that very often, you know.
No.
So, and then the episode finally ends with an intriguing new character whom we'll surely learn about in the next episode.
Yeah. You know, and on a side note, something I noticed with the old anime is how amusing the episode titles can be sometimes. Like, as an example, the title for the episode about these events was The Fire and Ice Barrier. Leona becomes the Ice Girl. Very descriptive, and they even threw in the reaction, like literally wrote out, in there.
That doesn't impress me. I thought she was ice before they got attacked.
Yeah. But before we get into the next episode, it's also worth mentioning that in the new show, we unfortunately miss out on another interaction with the fake hero party. In the original anime, having heard of Flazzard being in the area, they try to sneak away in these hilariously bad leaf and branches costumes, all the while the fake soldier hero still amusingly staying in character as Gome-chan.
That sounds like fun. Well, the next episode is episode 16, the Grand Sorcerer Matariv. In this episode, we learn the origins of Matariv, and he helps our heroes prepare to save Princess Leona.
Yeah, this is where we find out Mam's uncle is Grand Sorcerer Matariv, one of the people who worked with Yvonne to take down Hedlar back in the day.
That's quite a coincidence. He tries to give Mom a very perverted hello, asking for a puff puff, translated here as motorboating.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I guess that's accurate, but I wish they had translated it as Puff Puff. I know not everyone is familiar with Dragon Quest, but I think they went too descriptive with the translation here. I mean, it is a Dragon Quest show after all.
Yeah, and one of the things that's usually strong about this show is that they use the official translations for things. So this certainly is a mistake. I mean, I assume they had like a list of enemy names and spells and items, but apparently not just little things like that. But Puff Puff is funnier and more suggestive, so shame on them. Let's all do our best to give and or receive a Puff Puff of our own in order to make up for this translatorial indiscretion.
Hear, hear. And here's where they tone it way down from the original anime, and I'm assuming the manga. I haven't gotten that far in the manga yet. In the old anime, he straight up gets 2 handfuls of mom, which actually turns out to be mostly Gome-chan in her tunic, and some light butt padding before he gets knocked on the head from Mam.
It's always nice to start your day with some light butt padding. What a smooth dude, though. Not. By the way, I don't think he's an uncle by blood, so that's 20% less terrible right there. Anyway, after some convincing from Dai, Matsuri finally agrees to help the heroes save Princess Leona.
Yeah, he also decides to take on Pop as a student to toughen him up. It was very funny because Mom's like, "Hey, are you going to take him on because you see like the potential in him?" And he's like, "No. This guy is the worst. He's going to get killed out there. I'm going to take him on as a student so he doesn't die."
I enjoyed that as well, and he pointed out that Avon was too soft for a student like Pop.
Yeah.
And he's actually right, because Pop didn't grow that much under Avon from when we meet him at the beginning of the story.
Mm-mm.
Meanwhile, we learn that Hedlar has predicted that the heroes will try to take out the spires that are creating the curse field. So Hedlar's bringing reinforcements to stop them.
Except for Baran's dragon army. Hedlar tells him to invade the Carl Kingdom using the excuse they are proving too tough to be put down at the moment.
The Carl Kingdom, what a name.
Yeah.
And this upsets Baran, but he goes along with it for now.
Yeah, Hedlar wants to take out Dai before Baran gets a chance to meet him. But why? We'll have to wait for that answer for now.
Yeah, and also this is the scene in which we learned that Hedlar actually created Flazzard. A lot of times a character like this, you might not even get an origin for them. So it was cool to learn that, Hedlar created him and they have kind of a father-son thing going.
Yeah, because it's another case of using forbidden magic, and that's how he somehow created him in the past.
That's bad stuff. We then turn to Pop's training by Matsuri.
We see that Dai is also doing some training of his own by fighting with Mam blindfolded. Very Jedi of him.
Well, back with Pop's training, Pop is being chided by Matsuri for his lack of progress. So Matsuri challenges Pop by forcing him to use Zoom all the way back to Pavnika, which he eventually does in somewhat comical fashion.
Shortly afterwards, we see that Flazzard has deployed some Hydras to deliver the message that Princess Leona will be drained by the ice of all her life force by sundown the next day, putting the pressure on Dai and his companions.
I bet you didn't know that the Hydras also functioned as Bluetooth speakers.
Right?
So Matsuri realizes that Flazzard is banking on the heroes charging in the next day. So instead, he suggests the element of surprise, telling everyone to go in that very night.
Yep. And to get to the island, because the balloon's no longer an option, Matsuri uses his magic to levitate a small fishing boat that he has, which can fit 4 party members inside to shoot across the water, and with a bonus 5th of Gome-chan, since he snuck in there too.
Classic Gome-chan. However, Matsuri didn't take into account how the heroes would stop the boat.
That was pretty funny. But thankfully, Dai is able to cast a whoosh spell that slows them down, but just barely, as they still crash land into the island.
So the team splits into 2 groups, each carrying a bomb that was made by Baddock from materials provided by Matsuri.
Pop and Mam take the Ice Spire, while Gome-chan, Dai, and Baddock take the Flame Spire.
As the episode ends, we see that multiple Dark Army forces lie in wait for our party of heroes. We even see an archdemon fly overhead.
Oh, that's right. You see that like really quick, like right above them. But how will they survive? We'll find out next episode.
Another episode, another fake hero scene lost.
True. This time we see the fake heroes have set up a circus tent, and they're putting on they're attempting to put on a magic show.
This would be in the classic show, of course. Yeah, and during that time, as Matsuri is trying to zoom with Pop to the place where they're going to train, he and Pop end up accidentally crashing the show before they zoom off again.
Yeah, and then we also have this scene where some monsters invade the town where the fake heroes are at, and they think they've heard about them, thinking, oh, this must be the real heroes, but no, it's the fake hero party.
Yeah. So then the fakies grovel before the monsters, confessing that they're fake. And the monsters end off flying off to Flazzard, but not before the townspeople gang up on the fake heroes and beat them up for tricking them.
These 2 episodes of the new anime cover a large portion of episode 28 through most of episode 31 of the old anime.
What did you think of this episode? I liked it, and I definitely was excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, it was a fun training episode. I think Pop goes through a lot of character growth during this time too, through the tough love and advice that Matsuri gives him. I look forward to it paying off later.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Pop famously started out as a very flawed character, and it's really nice to see these moments when he's truly learning and growing and doing better than he would have done before.
Yeah, it's good to see. He's got a lot of character growth in the show. It's fun. But before we end this episode, we do have a few announcements.
Yes, we do. The first one concerns the Tokyo Game Show that will run from September 15th through 18th, and the lineup announced by Square Enix, the lineup of games.
Yep. And guess what game will be in that lineup? Infinity Strash, Dragon Quest, The Adventure of Dai.
Oh, what a terrible title that is. But this is the Dai console game that's been going through a very long development process.
Indeed it has. It was originally slated as a 2021 release, but delays from COVID, or at least I'm assuming so, because it was being developed right in the middle of all that. And a recent retooling have pushed it back a lot.
Yeah, and action RPGs like this, they take a lot of time to really get right, so I don't mind so much the delay. But the last time the game was shown, they had a demo where Dai fights Crocodile in Popnica Castle. And yeah, it looked pretty cool, I thought.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the game. It will be interesting to see what they show at TGS since they decided it needed more work. I'm hoping maybe they also announce what consoles it will be on, maybe a release date, including one for the West, though I might be getting my hopes up too much with that last part.
Yeah, I mean, like 2/3 of the time when they announce a Dragon Quest game and it goes through the development process, they end up disappointing the Western audiences. We randomly get them or don't get them, which is a real shame. But I think this one has a pretty good chance of getting brought over, considering that the anime is popular enough to get fully translated. The mangas are getting translated, and there's the mobile game too. So,
Yes,
I mean,
still
clearly
going.
there's some audience for Dai over here, and hopefully Square Enix will acknowledge that and bring the game.
Yeah.
The lineup at the game show will also include the Dai mobile game that I just mentioned and the Japanese-only Dai arcade game.
Yeah, and other Dragon Quest games such as DQ 10 Online, the offline game, and the upcoming Treasures game.
Boy, I wish Treasures wasn't a Nintendo Switch exclusive. It'd be nice to see it with better graphics on PlayStation or whatever. But don't forget about the other big game of the show, Power Wash Simulator. Game of the year 2022 right there, baby.
Oh, you got it, definitely. But joking aside, any other titles that you're looking forward to? I'm also excited to see what they show for Tactics Ogre Reborn and Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, which hopefully has a combat system kind of more similar to the original. I'm not sure, but I saw the one trailer that they did for it before, and they might, but it's weird because it's going to have like a gacha element to it as well. So I don't know. Like I need to see more about the game before I can make any kind of judgment about it.
Yeah, the presence of gacha stuff is worrisome because, gacha games just kind of naturally reach for our wallets over time. It's like they don't want you to just make a purchase once. They want you to just keep on making purchases every couple of weeks or every month. And they take so much time. So like you can only play one or two gacha games at a time. I play a couple myself, and I really don't have room in my life for another one.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's going to be more like some other RPGs that have gacha elements that I've seen in the past, where it's not like Tact, where it's like all about like collecting everything to advance everywhere. It's just like you play the story, and it has gacha elements where you can get some advanced like weapons and armor and stuff like that, but you don't necessarily need it to like beat the meat of the game. And it's going to be interesting too, because not only does it go over Final Fantasy VII stuff, but they're also going to include all the other stories from all the other spin-off games and kind of put it all into one game. So it'll be interesting to see how they pull it off.
Yeah, that's certainly a promising concept. And yeah, hopefully it won't be too predatory. And I am glad to see Tactics Ogre coming back. It's always nice to see a franchise get brought back or continue to go on like that. As for me, my most anticipated game of the year from a Japanese developer actually just came out a couple of weeks ago, and that would be Earth Defense Force 6, which is currently exclusive to PlayStation 4 and 5. But that came out in Japan. It's the 6th game in the series, and there's also several spin-offs. They usually get brought to to English markets. This one hasn't been announced for English markets yet, so I imported the game. I made an English menu translation guide at Co-Optimus, so anybody else who wants to play it early by getting the Japanese game, they can do so with like relatively minimal language barrier.
Oh, that's cool. That's like a really nice thing you did for the community doing that.
Nice of you to say so. Yeah, I mean, it helps me too because it's not like I can just like read everything really quickly. I can read some things and other things I have to get help for. So by making the guide, I can then easily refer to it in the future. I can show it to other people who wouldn't be able to read Japanese on their own. But yeah, like I got my start in the games industry by writing strategy guides for games, like way back in 2003, as a matter of fact.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's nice to dip my toes back in every now and then because, for a long time, that's all I did. And it was like mostly for free, But now I write about games and get paid a little bit for it here and there in addition to my main career. But
that's awesome. What was the first game you ever did a guide for?
Oh, that's
Do you
a good
remember?
question. Yeah, I think it was Bomberman. It was either Bomberman Land 2 or Bomberman Jetters for GameCube. I think it was Bomberman Land 2, which, by the way, is a huge game with so much friggin' text and like so much to figure out. And so that was a massive undertaking that I worked on for like a year or two. And back then I was also a Japanese language student. So like, there's a lot of stuff I couldn't read because of kanji, but I would go to these language meetups and I had my teacher and I would sometimes just ask them to translate little things for me. And that helped me out. Nowadays, the internet is so much more ubiquitous. So it's a lot easier to like find a Japanese person to help you if you've met them at some point. But, that was a good experience and I've always enjoyed it.
Nice. So would we find your guides like on GameFAQs, for example? Like what was the name that you would go by when you wrote these guides?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, most of them are available on GameFAQs or GameFAQs.com, and they're just written as EastX or EastFAQs, I guess, because those are my names. But this newest guide for Earth Defense Force 6, just using my regular name at Co-Optimus,
Okay, cool. That's awesome. So the other announcement that we have for this episode is next week we will be recording our first manga episode. We'll be doing a roundtable discussion with a couple of guests.
Yeah. And after our practice run, also known as the time that you forgot to record the podcast, we decided to change up the format a little on this one.
Yeah, we will cover the first book of the manga, but only half of the book to start out with. These books are very dense, so we'll only do half of a book per episode. So barring any unforeseen...
No. You said that right before the last time we attempted to record a manga episode, and you don't get to curse us anymore.
Fair enough. I will leave it there then.
That's all for this episode of Slime Time Tactfully Die. If you want to prepare for the next episode, be sure to watch episodes 17 and 18 of The Adventure of Dai on Crunchyroll.
We don't use Patreon. If you do have any money that is just completely infinity strashing in your wallet, pouch, bottomless bag, treasure chest, pot, barrel, safe, or even searchable wall sack, and you would like to donate anything to a website that's been supporting Dragon Quest fans for over 20 years, stop by the Dragon's Den at www.woodis.com/den and click on Support This Site. Woodis has owned and maintained the Dragon's Den DQ fan site for decades. He personally edits every YouTube version of our podcast, and he fully appreciates any donations to help keep the servers running.
The Dragon's Den website also features an Amazon affiliate link. If you click the link and then make a purchase, a small fraction of the sale will go to support the den. It doesn't cost you anything, and you'll earn 10 real-life experience points with every purchase.
Nice. We even have a Slime Time t-shirt you can buy by our resident artist, Dwayne. See the link for it in the show notes. And as part of the Slime Time Extended Universe, or Stu, you can direct comments or questions for the podcast on Twitter and Instagram at DQ Slimetime.
Plus, you can follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv/EastXTwitch. Come watch me play a variety of games every Saturday night, kids. Getting back to Dragon Quest, consider joining in tons of Dragon Quest discussions at the Dragon's Den forums. Forums that have been around a really long time, trust me. Find those forums from the main Dragon's Den page or at woodis.com/forums. You can also find us and other rabid Dragon Quest fans through the Dragon Questers and Dragon Quest Tact Global Facebook groups. We'd love to see you there.
Or come hang out with us and tons of other hardcore Dragon Quest fans on the officially unofficial Dragon's Den Discord server.
We'd like to thank everyone that made this episode possible, including you, Pendy, Woodis, the Dragon's Den, and Mike Fahy, former Kotaku writer. May he rest in peace.
Yeah, I read about him. R.I.P. to that guy.
Sad thing.
Yeah. And a special thanks to Platty for helping me out with our rotating podcast logo.
And for having such a lovely duck bill. Please like, subscribe, and write a review for the podcast.
For more Dragon Quest Slime Time, check out our library of episodes on Dragon's Den, Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, Audible, YouTube, and more.
We'll catch you later, everybody. Remember, don't hate, appreciate.
Time to zoom on out of here.
This is Gertrude for Slime Time, reminding you all that you must complete your adventure.